Women after 60, stop doing these 5 habits that secretly repel men, even if you're stunning. Welcome to Wise Life After 60. I'm so grateful you're here today. Have you ever wondered why some women, no matter how graceful, elegant, or attractive, seem to push away the very love they long for? It's not because of wrinkles, grey hair, or age. It's far subtler. It lives in habits, in patterns of thought and speech, in quiet behaviors that silently erode your magnetism. True allure after 60 isn't measured by creams, makeup, or designer shoes. It's measured in the energy you carry, the habits you nurture, the emotional landscape you create around you. Today, we'll reveal 5 hidden habits that might be quietly dimming your glow, the ones that men sense at a deeper, instinctive level. Often without knowing why, they feel less drawn, less connected, less enchanted. Even the most breathtaking woman can lose her power when these habits take root. Yet the transformation is simple once you recognize them. Replace them with self-respect, serenity, and authenticity, and you become unforgettable. Before we dive in, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Wise Life After 60, and join our journey uncovering the timeless psychology of love, attraction, and grace, seen through the lens of wisdom. The smallest inner shifts can create ripples that reshape the way love finds its way back to you. Habit number 1. Complaining, often disguised as harmless sharing. It starts innocently, almost tenderly. A quiet remark about how he didn't notice something, didn't say what you hoped, or forgot a small gesture that mattered to you. You tell yourself, "I'm not starting a fight. I just want to feel seen." But here's the paradox. To a man, these remarks rarely land as requests for closeness. Instead, they register as critique cloaked in care. Many women, particularly after years of shared routines, conflate venting with intimacy. If I just tell him how I feel, they reason, he will understand me more deeply. Yet men often connect not through words, but through peace. While women bond through emotional expression, men bond through calm, through stillness. Over time, repeated complaints, even small ones, become what psychologists call emotional contamination, the silent spread of stress, worry, or discontent that clouds the shared space between partners. Like dust on a cherished window, it doesn't shatter love overnight, but it dulls the clarity and warmth that once shone through effortlessly. Let me introduce you to Evelyn. Married for 38 years, she and her husband Tom had entered retirement thinking more time together would mean more joy. Instead, it brought friction. Every small oversight, Tom leaving the TV too loud, forgetting to pick up groceries, became a talking point. Evelyn believed she was simply seeking connection. Tom felt criticized, his heart quietly recoiling. "It feels like you don't like me anymore," he confessed one evening, breaking her heart. In that moment, Evelyn realized what she had been calling connection was quietly signaling dissatisfaction, frustration, and a lack of joy. So she tried something radical. The next time irritation rose, she paused, asking herself, "Do I need him to fix this, or do I just need to release it?" When she spoke, she chose gentleness over blame, self-awareness over reaction. Weeks later, she noticed small yet profound shifts. Tom lingered in her presence longer, reached for her hand with renewed affection, began to share stories as he had before. Men don't fall in love with reminders of life's noise. They fall in love with the calm that follows it. Not silence, mind you, but grace, a way to express truth without heat, emotion without accusation. When you master this balance, you stop just being easier to love you become impossible to forget. So next time frustration rises, breathe. Ask yourself, am I adding light or adding weight? Men are drawn not to women who never feel, but to women who choose wisdom over reaction, serenity over complaint, emotional clarity over unchecked venting. Habit number 2, neglecting self-care. There's an invisible contradiction in the lives of many women over 60, wanting admiration, longing for love, yet quietly abandoning the very self-respect that draws it. Self-care is not vanity, it is vitality. How you treat yourself communicates to the world how you expect to be treated. Yet after decades, many women stop walking with poise, stop dressing beautifully, stop maintaining small rituals that bring joy and pride because they believe it no longer matters. But it does. To a man of depth, a woman who continues to honor herself is intoxicating. She signals aliveness, worthiness, and pride. She doesn't shout it, she radiates it. Neglect tells the world she has stopped seeing herself. Cultivate even small habits, a morning walk, dressing with care, tending to health, nurturing inner joy. These acts send a quiet, magnetic message. I am alive. I am worthy. Habit number 3, using guilt as a form of love. Many women inherit this habit unconsciously, believing that true love is proven through sacrifice, and that if it isn't reciprocated, guilt becomes the messenger. After all I've done for you, how can you treat me this way? The words feel justified, but to the receiver, they awaken shame, not gratitude. Shame builds invisible walls, it suffocates warmth, and erodes attraction. Psychologists note that guilt is among the fastest ways to diminish emotional connection because it replaces freedom and generosity with pressure. A man doesn't fall in love with a woman who reminds him of what he owes. He falls in love with the one who makes giving feel natural, unburdened, a choice freely made. Take Margaret, married for 40 years. After her husband James retired, he became quiet, spending long hours in his workshop or garden. Margaret felt abandoned. She had given decades of support, love, and management of their family life. One evening, frustration overtook her, and she said softly yet bitterly, "After all I've done for you, this is what I get." James looked at her, eyes filled with guilt, feeling like a failure, not a partner. Months later, a conversation with a friend illuminated a simple, profound truth. Her love had transformed into a ledger, each act of giving attached to an expectation of repayment. That night, she tried something different. When James entered the room, she whispered, "I miss you. I don't need you to fix anything. I just miss sitting beside you." The shift was immediate. Guilt melted into tenderness. Connection re-emerged not because of grand gestures, but because love was once again offered freely, without accounting. When giving is a gift, not a demand, beauty returns. As Seneca wisely noted, he who gives for gratitude's sake never loses. A woman who radiates abundance draws life toward her. A woman who gives to control drives it away. Fear never seduces, fear suffocates. Let this truth sink in. True love after 60 is an offering, not an exchange. Habit number 4, the silent comparison trap. Even after decades of life, love, and experience, many women still measure themselves against others, whether it's another woman's youth, her appearance, her marriage, or her seemingly effortless joy. It begins quietly, often disguised as admiration or casual observation. She looks amazing at her age, or I wish I could have her confidence. Yet beneath these words lurks an invisible tension, a subtle envy that quietly erodes the confidence and radiance that once drew others near. Men are instinctively attuned to this energy, sensing not only your insecurity, but also the almost imperceptible conflict between admiration and envy. It's not jealousy in its loud, dramatic form, but a quieter, more insidious presence that dims light. There's something utterly magnetic about a woman who admires beauty in others without feeling threatened by it, who celebrates joy in the world and does not measure it against her own worth. This serenity, this peace with oneself, becomes a beacon. A man may not consciously analyze it, but he is drawn toward it because it radiates stability, confidence, and deep-seated contentment. A friend once shared how his mother, even in her 70s, would remark upon the beauty of other women with genuine joy, never tinged by comparison. He reflected, "That's why men adored her. She was never competing. She simply celebrated. She made everyone feel beautiful, and that in itself was magnetic." The lesson is profound. Your glow is not diminished by the light of another. It is confirmed, magnified, and expanded. Comparison is a thief of joy, and it steals far more than it seems. Stop dimming your own radiance, not for pride, but for the freedom and serenity that comes with self-acceptance. When you walk into a room, carrying the quiet confidence of someone who no longer measures herself against others, men and women alike notice the authenticity, the calm glow that comes from embracing your own journey, scars, stories, and triumphs. Habit number 5, speaking from bitterness instead of wisdom. This habit is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it can quietly shut doors that were once wide open. Bitterness often hides behind carefully chosen phrases. "I know how men are," "At my age, it doesn't matter anymore," or "Love is never what it seems." On the surface, these words may seem like acceptance, even pragmatism, but in truth, they are emotional armor worn to survive, shields forged through years of disappointment and heartbreak, yet heavy enough to keep love from entering. Bitterness is rarely loud. It is quiet, restrained, polite, yet it carries a hidden message. Don't get too close. I've been hurt, and I'm protecting myself. A man may not consciously identify what he senses, but there is a subtle unease, an invisible boundary, a sense that he is not welcome to approach. He doesn't feel challenged or engaged. He feels the ghosts of past heartbreak hovering between you, invisible yet tangible. Let me share the story of Anne, a woman of 67 who had weathered more heartbreak than many could imagine. She had endured divorce, betrayal, the fading embers of once passionate love, and the quiet loneliness of years spent guarding her heart. Anne often told herself she had made peace with being alone, but her eyes betrayed another story, one of longing carefully hidden behind caution. When she met Richard, a widower with soft eyes and gentle humor, she doubted that real love could ever arrive for her again. Every compliment she deflected, every gesture of kindness met with insistence that she could handle things herself, became a silent barrier she did not even recognize she had built. One afternoon, during a simple walk through autumn leaves, Richard stopped, looked at her, and said something that would quietly shatter the walls she had so carefully erected. "Anne, I'm not trying to replace anyone from your past. I just want to know you as you are now." His words were simple, unassuming, and yet they penetrated the armor she had worn for decades. She went home that afternoon and wept, not from sadness, but from relief. She realized that her independence, once a symbol of strength and resilience, had quietly transformed into a barrier to intimacy, a wall constructed from past disappointment, rather than present choice. Over time, she began to speak differently. Instead of statements that assumed betrayal or inevitable loss, she learned to voice acceptance without resignation, hope without expectation, openness without fear. Sometimes people grow apart, and that's okay, she would say, instead of, men always leave. I still have chapters left to write, she whispered in place of, it's too late for me. And something miraculous occurred. Her voice softened, her laughter returned, and the light in her eyes rekindled. Richard didn't fall in love with the woman's past, her experiences, or even her appearance. He fell in love with the woman who had finally released the weight of bitterness, who had transformed it into wisdom, compassion, and openness. That is the quiet power of wisdom, the subtle force that can revive connection and reignite attraction long after it seemed lost. What truly repels love is not the surface-level changes that time brings, wrinkles, gray hair, or shifts in energy, but the habits that quietly cloud your natural grace. Complaining replaces peace with noise. Neglect replaces pride with resignation. Guilt replaces warmth with pressure. Comparison replaces joy with tension. And bitterness replaces wisdom with invisible walls. Yet beneath all of these habits, beneath all of the ways life and history have layered themselves over your heart, there remains a core of radiance that no age can touch. Self-respect, gentleness, authenticity, these are timeless. When you shed resentment, self-doubt, and hidden grievances, what remains is magnetic, enduring, and deeply attractive. A woman who moves through the world with quiet confidence, who laughs easily and speaks with wisdom, becomes unforgettable not because she looks young or perfect, but because she embodies a life fully lived, fully acknowledged, fully embraced. Love after 60 is not about chasing what once was or lamenting what is lost. It is about discovering or rediscovering what has always been there, the ability to love from strength, to connect from serenity, and to honor yourself not as diminished, but as expanded by experience. Every wrinkle carries a story. Every scar bears witness to battles fought and lessons learned, and every moment lived deeply contributes to a radiant presence that no cream, no cosmetic, no fashion choice can ever replicate. This is the beauty of wisdom, the allure of authenticity, the quiet magnetism of a heart that has known both pain and joy and chosen to thrive nonetheless. So, if you have ever chosen to forgive, not because someone deserved it, but because you deserved peace, share that story. It may help another woman see that letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of self-respect. When you practice emotional clarity, self-care, free giving, admiration without envy, and speak from wisdom rather than bitterness, you become a force of attraction that transcends age, circumstance, or societal expectation. The world may see only the surface, but men, sensitive, intuitive, drawn to depth, perceive the true radiance that flows from a woman who has embraced herself fully. Love after 60 is no longer about seeking approval, competing for attention, or fearing abandonment. It is about cultivating serenity, nurturing joy, and radiating self-respect. When you embrace these principles, relationships deepen, connections flourish, and your presence becomes irresistible, not through effort, but through authenticity. In the quiet confidence that comes from inner work, in the peace born of wisdom, and in the gentle yet unwavering self-respect that refuses to compromise, a woman becomes magnetic. She attracts not because of youth, not because of appearance, not because of societal expectation, but because she has reclaimed the essence of herself, her joy, her radiance, her capacity for love, and her ability to navigate life with grace, dignity, and wisdom. This is not a distant dream or a philosophical notion. It is a tangible reality, accessible to every woman willing to look inward and make subtle yet profound shifts. Complaining becomes mindful expression. Neglect transforms into daily rituals of joy. Guilt melts into generous giving. Comparison dissolves into admiration. Bitterness blossoms into wisdom. Each choice, each moment of awareness, strengthens the invisible threads of attraction, magnetism, and authentic charm. A woman who embodies this way of being does not merely survive life. She thrives in it. She attracts love effortlessly. She inspires those around her, and she leaves an imprint on the hearts of those fortunate enough to know her. Every interaction becomes richer, every smile more luminous, every presence more memorable. Love after 60 is no longer about chasing past dreams, recapturing lost youth, or pleading for attention. It is about rediscovering the deepest parts of yourself, the unshakable core of value, beauty, and wisdom that has always been there. Every challenge you faced, every heartache endured, every triumph celebrated has contributed to this reservoir of magnetic grace. A woman who has cultivated emotional clarity, self-respect, generosity, serenity, and wisdom cannot help but draw love toward her because she operates from abundance rather than need, from peace rather than fear, from light rather than shadow. This is timeless beauty. This is irresistible power. This is the essence of a woman who has not only lived, but has learned, transformed, and embraced the fullness of her existence. So, when you reflect on your habits, your choices, and your energy, ask yourself, am I creating space for love to enter? Or am I unknowingly building walls? Are my words lifting others, or are they sowing quiet tension? Do I honor myself, or have I allowed neglect to dim my flame? Every small adjustment, every conscious decision to cultivate emotional hygiene, to practice self-care, to give freely, to admire without envy, and to speak from wisdom rather than bitterness, enhances not just your magnetism, but your joy, your peace, and your capacity for love that is deep, enduring, and fully alive. This is the invitation of life after 60, to shed fear, resentment, and self-doubt, to reclaim your innate radiance, and to step into a version of yourself that is more magnetic, more beautiful, and more unstoppable than ever before.